Good evening. The motto of British police and prosecutors during a major terrorism investigation has for years always been the same. Whatever you say nothing. But today the Crown Prosecution Service and the Metropolitan Police did something extraordinary. Outside the court process, they began to lift the veil, holding a news conference on the alleged terrorist plot to blow up airliners. 11 people are to face terrorism charges. Others could remain in custody for another 2 weeks or so, and one woman has been released. In a moment, we'll hear from the woman's lawyer. First, this report from Robin Denslow.
At 6 o'clock, a terrorist plot to bomb planes leaving British airports has been foiled, according to police. It's alleged that up to 10...
It was just 11 days ago that the first allegations were made of what was described as a huge terrorist operation to kill thousands aboard up to 10 flights to America.
This nation is at war with Islamic fascists.
The alleged plot involved explosives constructed from seemingly innocent liquids or electrical devices carried in hand luggage. Police raided homes in London, High Wycombe and Birmingham, and 24 people were initially arrested. But coming just 2 months after the fiasco of the massive Forest Gate raid, which led to no charges, there was perhaps predictable initial scepticism in parts of the British Muslim community.
They've got 21 people at the moment involved with this, and imagine it seems that they don't find nothing.
It's not good for the community, it's not good for the relations with the Muslim community, with the police.
The police are clearly determined to bury the memory of Forest Gate and show that this time they've got it right and that the threat was very real. Which perhaps explains today's remarkable press briefing. No questions were allowed, held jointly by the Met and the Crown Prosecution Service. Here it was announced that 11 of those arrested over the alleged airline and bomb plot have been charged and that bomb-making equipment and martyrdom videos had been found. 8 men were charged with conspiracy to murder.
8 are currently being charged with 2 offences relating to the alleged plot to manufacture and smuggle the component parts of improvised explosive devices onto aircraft and assemble and detonate them on board. Those individuals are being charged with conspiracy to murder and the new offence of preparing acts of terrorism contrary to Section 5 of the Terrorism Act 2006.
The 8 charged with the most serious offences are Asad Ali Sawar, aged 26, from High Wycombe, and Umar Islam, also known as Brian Young, variously from High Wycombe and Forest Gate, along with Tanvir Hussain, aged 25, from Leighton, and Adam Khatib, Ibrahim Savant, Wahid Zaman, Arafat Wahid Khan and Ahmed Abdullah Ali, all from Walthamstow and aged between 19 and 25.
In addition, 3 separate individuals are being charged with other offences under the Terrorism Act 2000. One, a 17-year-old, is being charged with possession of articles useful to a person preparing an act of terrorism, and 2, with failing to disclose information of material assistance in preventing an act of terrorism. 1 woman has been released from custody without charge.
Those other 3 charged include a woman, Qasar Ali, aged 23, from Walthamstow, along with Mehran Hussain from Chingford near Walthamstow, and a 17-year-old male who can't be named for legal reasons, charged with possession of articles useful to a person preparing an act of terrorism. The teenager had a book on improvised explosive devices, suicide notes, wills and a map of Afghanistan. 11 others remain in custody but have not been charged. Unusually, the police gave significant details of the evidence that they've recovered so far. It's been suggested that this is perhaps a bit of a PR move. They want to show this is very different to Forest Gate. The police talked of 69 searches yielding over 400 computers and 200 mobile phones, as well as even more important discoveries.
Since the 10th of August, we have found bomb-making equipment. There are chemicals, including hydrogen peroxide, electrical components, documents and other items. We have also found a number of video recordings. These are sometimes referred to as martyrdom videos.
So how has the British Muslim community reacted? 6 of those charged come from the London suburb of Walthamstow, where Imtiaz Kadir is spokesman for the local Islamic Association.
I can give you my reaction because I haven't been in touch with the community at the moment. My reaction is that, yes, I'm still surprised. But my main view is this, that they're still innocent until they're proven guilty. And I think that's what you're going to get from the community as well. Their main reaction is going to be that. They'll still be slightly sceptical.
8 of the 11 who've been charged will appear at Westminster Magistrates Court tomorrow. There's been an extension allowing the 11 other suspects to remain in custody until Wednesday.
With me now is Louise Christian, the lawyer who represents the only person released today. Can you explain the process that your client went through?
Yes. She was taken to Paddington Green Police Station along with, there were 23 of them all together, and the police have an obligation to make disclosure of the evidence they have against you, the reason why you're there. And they tend to make this in stages, but one of the things that we've noticed is that since the legislation has extended the period of time that the police can keep you under the Terrorism Act. Initially it was 7 days, then it was 14 days, and then this year it's been extended to 28 days, so it's been increased by threefold, that the police delay more and more making the disclosure of the reason why you're there.
But they could have delayed, sorry to interrupt, but they could have delayed it for 28 days, couldn't they? I mean, your client, in a sense, has got out less than the time that the police could have had to hold her.
Well, she was held for 10 days, which is a very, very long period of time to be held in a police station when you're released without charge. And it was 8 days, really, before we were told the reason why she was there. And we think that this legislation does encourage the police to just hold on to people in order to put pressure on them. And I think that I'm not acting for the 11 people who are remaining there, but certainly I hope that any judge looking at the situation would be concerned to ensure that there were very good reasons to continue to hold on to them.
But the government view has been consistently, as you know, on terrorism matters, that they need more than 28 days. They might need up to 90 days. And given that Mr. Clark, we heard in Robin Densler's report there, talked about the immense scale of this alleged plot. He talked about 400 computers, 200 phones and 6,000 gigabytes of information. The police need time.
Well, the fact is they've charged 8 people today. And the Deputy Prime Minister, apparently when meeting MPs last Wednesday, said that some people would be released without charge. And in fact, today only one person, our client, has been released without charge. So I think there must be a worry that the police already know that they haven't got enough evidence against some or all of the remaining 11 people. And that's where I think that one should be concerned about this legislation, which allows the police to hold people for such very long periods of time. And one should be concerned that the police act expeditiously and that they do put the case to someone. When you get into the police station, you should know why you're there.
Sure, but again, the point I made was 400 computers, 200 phones, yes. 6,000 gigabytes of information. But if the government were to go back to Parliament to ask for 90 days, they might get it.
It's easy to throw around statistics like that. They also had 24 people in there, and they had 24 separate individual people against whom there may be a lot of evidence against some of them, and there may be nothing or very little against others.
But so the process is working. That's why your client got out.
But the other thing is this tendency to have these press conferences and to make these announcements about 400 computers and so on. It's very prejudicial, and the Attorney General should be stopping it, and we should not go down the American road of having prosecutions having press conferences.
I understand why you say it's prejudicial, but it's also transparent. You know the kind of feeling in the community after Forest Gate, and you know this is a very sensitive matter. And the police are caught, aren't they? They either say nothing or they say something to try and reassure the communities in this country that something has been done the right way, in which case people like you say it's prejudicial. They can't get it right, can they?
But if you've got 23 separate people in the police station, they've got to be treated as individuals. Each one of those people has rights. And for the police to be releasing information like that as if it applies to everyone, I think the community can see through that. And they are worried that people are treated en masse the same, rather than being treated as individuals with individual rights. And I think that going down this road of having press conferences, every single trial in respect of terrorism that happens now starts with a long series of things coming from the defence about all the prejudicial press coverage that there's been in advance of the trial. And the Attorney General knows this, and I think that him and the government ministers and the senior police officers have a responsibility not to make statements that prejudice criminal trials, and I'm worried that's happened in this case.
Louise Christian, thank you.